Hey, welcome back. This is Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour on KZSB AM 1290. The name of the show is Being Grateful, and I was reading some statements about being grateful from young kids. And the last one I read was from a 5-year-old named Angelina, and she was thankful for, the school, games, colors, her friends, and most of all, her sister and all my family. And let me read you a couple more, and then I'll move on in the show. This is from a 17-year-old young lady named Ava. And it says, I'm thankful for my family and the things I have because some people don't have things that I have, like a bike. And I'm thankful for my family because when I am feeling sad, my family will cheer me up and give me hugs. Go, Ava. Gosh. Now, the last one I'm going to give you is written by a 9-year-old young man named Cameron. It says, I'm thankful for the bushy green trees, the beautiful flowers, and the buzzing bees. Who is this guy? I'm thankful for the animals that are near and far and all the neat, fun things they are. This is a poem. Wait a minute here. I'm thankful for the food I eat and for the sun that gives us all heat. Most of all, it's clear to see I'm thankful for my loving and caring family. That's written by a 9-year-old boy named Cameron. Now, why do you think I'm taking the time to read all this stuff to you? I mean, we have to get straight about a few things. One is that, if we are the only people that have a say in how our lives turn out, and if our lives aren't working, which one of us do you think we need to have us talk with? And that's us. Now, I got a couple of quotes for you. It says, G.B. Stern's silent gratitude isn't much use to anyone. Do you get that? So if you don't say what's going on or say thankful for what you got, no one really knows. Now, we've been getting some calls on the show today that they're saying that, that live streaming isn't working. So hopefully it's up now. So whoever called last, will you call back in again and say, hey, it's up working, and let us know that it's up working okay, all right? Okay, now, George Coleman said, praise the bridge that carry you over anything, all right? Aldous Huxley said, most human beings have almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. Isn't that true? That is absolutely amazing. Now, we've got some emails coming in here. What do you see over there?
Okay, Clay. I've got several emails that have come in during the break, and this one is from somebody named Susie. And she said, Dear Clay, she goes, I think more people would choose to be positive if they could recognize how negative they are being when they are actually being it. So my question is, are there any red flags that we can recognize in ourselves that will make us step back and check out what we're doing?
Oh, yeah, there's several of them. I mean, you can feel when you're being negative. You can look in the mirror, look at your face. I mean, do you have a smile on your face? What's the tone of your voice? What's your body English? And quite frankly, when you're looking at the people you're talking to, all right, are they smiling or not? That's really how to check it. Are you making a difference or are you bringing somebody down? That's how you check it. So, and that's a really good question. How do you know who you're being when you're being it? You can feel it, all right? If it's not putting a smile in your heart, it's not making a difference. I'll tell you that right now. So, you have to kind of get clear about that. So back to the what I was talking to you about kids and being grateful. Kids are absolutely phenomenally grateful for everything they have. They haven't lived long enough to know that, sometimes people aren't very grateful. Like, kids look at adults and they go, what is your problem? How come you're so serious? Why is it you can't smile? How come you're not laughing? So clearly get, that children really understand what it means to be appreciative, to be grateful for what they have, to be thankful for the people in their lives, and to not take them for granted. So what happened to the rest of us? And I'm not saying that all of us adults are greedy or whiny or unthankful. What I am saying is that the circumstances have to be, or in a way have to get into our heads that our adult way of being makes it hard to get this hard way of being out. In other words, oh gosh, I can't say fun and happy things all the time or people won't think I'm normal. I have to be cranky. My thrown way of being is a complaint. And how many times have you gone to dinner someplace or sat with somebody or were listening to somebody and they were complaining and you just couldn't wait to get away from them? Think about that. And what'd you do? You sat there and listened. Hopefully they were going to run down, So I have an 80-20 rule that I want to share with you all out there. 80% of our lives is working just great. 20%, as I put it, all right, is absolutely terrible or sucks, as I say. So it's like it's like you have to get straight about something. You can either live in the 20% of your life that isn't working, or you can live in the 80% of your life that is. So how do we do that? How do we actually get to the place where we can remember to choose, or that we have a choice in how we live our lives? 80% that is working and happy, or the 20% that isn't working that's unhappy? How do we choose that? Okay, so you have to get present to the tips or the things in life that quite frankly, give you the 80%, doesn't give you the 20%. So think about that for a minute. Simple things like hugs from those that you love, especially your kids. That's a good thing. That goes into the 80%. And if you can't be with those you love on this holiday, write them a letter and tell them you love them and how much you appreciate them. Get in touch, communicate. Communication is a phenomenal tool for human beings. Most of us don't do that. We just think, or we expect. We expect others to be able to read our minds, or quite frankly, we think that everybody's already read them. So, go outside and enjoy the sun in your face and the wind in your hair. It's like, I read a story about a woman who was hospitalized for several months, and one of the things she said that was that she was so thankful to finally be able to feel the warm sun in her face. Think about that. So it's like she was hospitalized for months, and then finally she goes outside, she sits outside and feels the sun on her face, and she goes, oh, how many of us really, really, really are present to the sun being on our face unless it's too much sun? What if you notice it like sun was missing? They call that cabin fever in Alaska or in Idaho, all right? Or in a lot of places where it rains or snows a lot, you have to stay inside a lot. So fresh air is just a phenomenal, wonderful tool to use to get your life back. So wouldn't it be cool if we could be thankful for what we have without it being taken away first? Now think about what I just said. That is a huge statement. What would it be like to actually be able to appreciate, all right, and to be thankful for what we have without it having to be taken away before we learn to appreciate it? What do you think about that? Huh? There's so much to be thankful for that we don't even have to leave our desks at work to see it. But we do have to have our eyes open to the gifts that are everywhere around us. So how do we keep our eyes open to the gifts that are around us? Think about that one. How do we do that? If you're in your office or in your home, not in a moving vehicle, I want you to stand up now and look down at your feet. What do you see? Remember, if you're driving a car, don't stand up and look down at your feet. Things could get a little weird pretty quick, okay? But if you're in your office or in your home, stand up and look straight down at your feet and tell me what you see. Now, some of you can't see your feet because maybe you're a little bit out of shape. Don't worry about that. Bend over a little bit more till you can see your feet. All right? So think about this now. What would it be like to be present to wherever your feet are at all times? What would it be like? Think about that. How many times have you been with someone, but you haven't really been with them? How many times have you been at home, but you haven't really been at home? How many times have you been on a phone, but not really talking on the phone, not really present to the phone? How many times have you been with your kids, but not really with your kids? What would it be like to really be wherever your feet are all the time? And to really be present? What would it be like to be in control of your mind chatter? What a gift that would be. What would it be like to be absolutely powerfully present all the time? That would be so cool. Absolutely cool. All right. George Coleman Thornton Wilder wrote, says that we can only be said to have been alive. Boy, I'm messing this up. It can only be said that we are alive in those moments when our hearts are conscious to our treasures. In other words, we're present to the power. We're present to what's in front of us. We're present to the value of things in front of us. A Chinese proverb, when eating bamboo sprouts, remember the man who planted them. Well, what a concept, Remember the man who planted them. Wow. Okay, I've got to go on another break now. You're listening to Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour. The name of the show is Being Grateful. So get on back here and let's learn some more.